Good morning. Every day was awesome. I just learned right here, right now, how to start a recording. So we learn every day something new. Welcome to Namaste Village, our Sunday service. I told you on Friday that today we have a surprise, and we do have a surprise. But let us start this Sunday service this morning with a prayer, and I invite you, see, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel the presence of holiness in this wonderful, beautiful Sunday morning. Feel the presence of God. The presence of God, love, light, beauty, peace. Peace. In this moment that we join together, let us send this energy of peace to the whole planet. Let us imagine that we are extending peace, surrounding every being with peace in their heart. Peace, be still and know that I am God. Peace, be still and know that I am. Yo soy. Peace, be still and know. Peace, be still. Peace, be. Paz. Aquietate y sabe que yo soy Dios. Paz. Aquietate y sabe que yo soy. Paz. Aquietate, sabe. Paz. Aquietate. Peace, be still, peace. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for this moment where we are together remembering the truth of our being, remembering our oneness with you, oneness with everybody. Thank you, God. Amen, amen. And Amen.
I'm going to read the Daily Word, and I just remembered, this is the first time I'm reading the Daily Word in English with Johannes since 2007 or 8. And it wasn't because I botched it so badly, I hope. It was because from there on out, all of her services were in Spanish, and nobody wanted to hear me read the Daily Word in Spanish. So today's Daily Word is perfect for today. Perfect for every day, but it's perfect for us right now. So the Daily Word for Sunday, August 15th, 2021, is joy. I say yes to the joy that invites me in this moment. Joy is the call of my heart. Whether I am at work or at play, I bring a spirit of joyfulness to everything I do. More than a mood or an attitude, joy is part of me, and mine to live and to share. Like all aspects of my divine identity, joy flowers in my consciousness when I hold joyful thoughts and feelings. I express my joy as the excitement of anticipation, fascination at a new discovery, deep satisfaction in a relationship, and the tranquil glow from communing with God in prayer. My joy is contagious, and I love to share it. I love to share in it. I have feelings of joy when I take part in a friend's or family member's joyous moments, their celebrations and accomplishments. I feel quiet joy when I offer encouragement and even when I give comfort, grateful to share the care and love of God. Today's daily word is from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 16. Rejoice always.
Amen.
So speaking of rejoicing, today we rejoice that we have present with us today two Unity ministers, Kristen and Brian Grandin. And I'm going to introduce Kristen first and then Brian, only because I met Chris first. Born in Colorado, Reverend Kristen Grandin is an ordained Unity minister with a degree in communication and media. She has combined her devotion to Spirit with her degree and experience in communications in service to the Unity movement. After seminary, Kristen joined Unity's central office, Unity Worldwide Ministries, in creating integrated, streamlined media and communication systems to support Unity leaders and ministries. And that's when I met Kristen. I was on the board of UWM, and Kristen was pretty much the glue that held the communications totally within the Unity movement together. She was a seminal figure there and really, really critically important to help us all survive with joy, speaking of the daily word, with joy, the traumas of the great, what was it called, Great Recession of 2008 through 2000, whenever it ended. Reverend Brian Grandin grew up near Seattle, Washington, and loves the outdoors. He earned a bachelor's degree in business at Pacific Lutheran University and a master's in divinity while becoming an ordained Unity minister. Brian has a wide range of life experience which gives him the gift of common ground in relating to just about anyone. He can relate to me, so he can relate to anyone. In 2017, Reverend Kristen and Brian Grandin joined Unity Church of the Hills in Austin, Texas as co-ministers. And they did that after their wonderful wedding ceremony in San Diego, which Johannes had the privilege of singing at and I had the privilege of attending. So it was wonderful going out there. Currently, Reverends Kristen and Brian live in North Florida, and Brian is working in a maximum security prison. They let him out periodically. Focusing on supporting inmates in spiritual, psychological, and physical well-being. So they will come up shortly.
So let us then welcome our beloved ministers, and thank you for accepting the invitation of being here with us. So please
Tone them in. We'll do one at a time. We'll do Kristen first. Kristen,
Brian. So let us give them an applause. Come in, join us. Thank you.
I paid Jack $50 to say all that.
Well, wait a minute. See, I can see this. Look, don't they look like they've always been related?
We had a friend say it looked like we came from the same egg.
Yeah.
We did not.
Yeah, that's okay. But we checked out the family tree and we're safe.
We're good.
Anyhow, so shall I start?
Please do, love.
Okay, so my first mystical experience, I was really young, like 3-4 years old, and it freaked me out. And I just remember wanting to be a little boy, and I didn't want anything to do with it, and I just kind of had nothing to do with religion. And as I grew a little older, many of the role models I saw that were Christians, I didn't see a devoted heart. I saw hypocrisy. Yeah, I saw one behavior on the way to church, and then magically every Sunday morning when that door opened in the parking lot, and Saint so-and-so got out of the car. You know, it was just like such a dichotomy. So I had rejected Christianity for sure, and considered myself an atheist growing up. At 15 years old, I had a philosophy class in high school, and the philosophy teacher played a recording of Ram Dass's, what was his original name?
Richard Alpert.
Richard Alpert was sharing his story of how he met his teacher, and all of a sudden something woke up inside of me. Wow, what is the truth? What happens after we die? Is there life after death? Those three questions became a mantra for me for the next number of years. And stuff happened. I was going all over the place, experiencing different things. I was addicted to adrenaline. That was my drug of choice, which got me into a lot of trouble. And you know, like the Dukes of Hazzard, the car flying through the air, you know, that all sorts of crazy stuff. I'd ski off cliffs. But to get that experience, you know, of an adrenaline junkie, I couldn't be attracted to anything that was just a written word. I had to experience its truth. So there was never a liturgical draw for me because I had rejected that. So I was working seasonally, going up to Alaska in the summertime, working in the mountains in the wintertime, and the snow melted one year. My sister had become a born-again Christian, and she was inviting me to come to church with her. And so finally I said, okay, I'll come, since the snow melted. And January 18th, 1981, I got on my knees in her studio apartment after an amazing experience at church. I could go on and on, but I surrendered my life to Christ. And in her studio apartment was my body, but all of a sudden my awareness went out into outer space. And there were no planets, there were no stars, there was no anything. There was just infinite peace. The amplitude was infinitely powerful. I knew it was God. And thank you, God. Mm-hmm. And when I opened my eyes, I was a completely different person. I knew right then that I couldn't have learned what I experienced. You can't learn that. It was that experience in the presence of the Holy Spirit, which is only going to be love or peace. Anything else is manufactured by the ego. The nature of God is love and peace. The joy that we experience is an expression of worship and gratitude to the presence of God. And you know, my life the next few years was like reading the book of Acts. In the East, you'd say cities. I witnessed a lot of miraculous phenomena. I did some missionary work and witnessed healing and prophetic stuff. And it was just, it was incredible. It was just a radical roller coaster. And life was never the same. I settled into, I decided I wanted to be married. Oh, before that, I was on a 10-day fast, and I was begging the Holy Spirit, this is what I want to do. Being a missionary in the Philippines, but I just wanted to be a full-time minister. This is all I want to do. And as after like the 10th day of this, I was on a water fast, and so it was like an angel leaned over and said, yeah, it'll happen, but not till you're in your mid-40s. And I was only 22 years old at the time, and I'm like, that's a lifetime away. And so I figured, okay, well, I better not wait at a bus stop for the next 20 years. I may as well get some life experience. I decided to go to college. I ended up getting married. And I became more religious over the next 15, 20 years. Having started out very spiritual and then all of a sudden becoming very religious, I'm like, wait a minute, something's missing. And I met a friend that introduced me to my teacher, David Hawkins. Jesus Christ is my teacher. David Hawkins was a living, breathing teacher in the flesh that spoke English and had 2 doctorates and was brilliant. And his writings and his experiences that he described, I had a number of those similar experiences, and like, okay, this is perfect resonance, man. I think I understand, but it's beneath the intellect. The experience, it's beneath the chatter of thoughts. It's where you just check out the mind, and you know how the mind races sometimes and you can't control it, it just goes. Well, you know, we can slide down beneath it and just watch the slideshow and surrender, and like, that's not me. It's an organ that's pumping thoughts, just like the heart pumps blood. But what I am is an eternal presence, not unlike the Holy Spirit, that can't die, that is loved. And no matter what I do, cannot lose that love, cannot earn that love, but it can never be lost. And so anyhow, I just went through a series of surrender and surrender and surrender, and that was coinciding with my time of my calling. And so it all worked out to be, you know, kind of coming to a head at the same time. And I surrendered to that calling. And so anyhow, here we are. But that's my intro. Blessings.
Thank you, Brian. God bless you. We all have a story, don't we, of our spiritual unfolding and our discovery. And whether you're here in person, which is an honor to be here, by the way, thank you so much for the invitation, Jack and Johannes and James, Francis, Twyman. Your community is an incredible blessing. If you're online and you've never been here, trust me, it's a beautiful place to come to be.
That's why you should have gone first.
No, you did great. You let me calm down. But this discovery of our own divinity, of our own understanding of connection and communion with that divine presence is what I want to kind of focus in on as I share with you a little bit about my story, just so that we can relate. So my question to each of you, whether you're online or whether you're here, is how do you communicate and connect with the divine? How do you feel that presence and that guidance? And like switching the focus from up here to in you, like thinking about your life and your path. When is it those moments that you've known that you've known that you know, that you get the chills, you know, that moves you so deeply or resonates in a space and in a frequency that's ineffable? That's the homework, if you're choosing to so accept that today, is to really kind of hone in on how you connect with the divine. The first time I remember this happening for me, I was about 3 years old, and I was in the courtyard between the church and where we lived, which was the minister's residence. My dad was a minister, and I was playing at the age of like 2 or 3. I don't remember exactly what it was, and I felt a presence coming up behind me. And I got up and I turned around thinking that there was somebody there, and what I saw was just the sunlight coming between the leaves of the trees and the leaves moving. And I remember hearing, feeling, do you know what I mean? Deep, deep knowing. You were born for a very important reason. And I feel that even today at 54. It gives me this centering and this sense of solidness that I can't even describe, but I'm sure you've also touched and felt within your own life. And now that I look back on it at 54, I think it was code for, hold on, Kristen, because here it all comes. Yeah, the waters are going to get choppy in life, but you're here for a purpose and a reason. So coming forward from that, my dad is a Lutheran minister in a very conservative faith in a very small town in 1970. Think when the man's landed on the moon. We're talking a long time ago. He was struggling with his sexuality, and he did something in that place and time and space that was unacceptable for a minister in a small community like that. So he ended up losing his job. We left in a place of, you know, shunning and shame, which that shame was turned inward into my family. And it was horrible for my dad because he became kind of like a ghost in the family. My mom was livid. She had lost 2 children of the 4 that she'd had already, and hear this on top of that. And she had to become the breadwinner for our family. It was devastating. It went from a very idyllic childhood to a very difficult childhood. I became a latchkey kid, and I had to move through all of that. And yeah, it was something to live through. And my parents ended up getting divorced after a while, and then my mom remarried, and it was going from like the frying pan into the fire, as my stepdad had a rage problem, and that got vented toward me frequently. Okay, so this is not a happy story. I get it. It's one that I really don't even like to own. But the reason I share it with you is because what has shown me the way through all of these hours, no matter what was going on, was the presence of peace and the power of God that was my eternal north, that always was with me, that never forsook me in any situation. And it took me, there were times when I didn't think I was going to make it to 18. I remember once I was shoveling snow in Colorado, and I was thinking, I don't know that I'm going to make it. I don't think I'm going to make it. And when I stopped shoveling snow and I'm leaning on the shovel and I'm thinking this to myself, I heard inside again. Remember, how do you hear God speaking to you? Everything is going to be all right, Kristen. Everything is going to be all right. And it was. I got to 18. I got out of the house. I spent the next 20 years in therapy, so I went to do anything that I'd had experienced from myself to my son, which I was so graced to have the chance to be a mom. But it is this presence, this power, this ineffable Holy Spirit that Brian shared with you that he has experienced, that I know you all have experienced and that you do experience. And I hope to have an opportunity later this week to share with you more about those places and spaces in which this Holy Presence moves through us. It speaks to me today in song oftentimes. And a lyric that's been with me, and this is kind of to move us toward meditation, is lyrics of, I am yours and you are mine. This lyric sings over and over and over in me. I am yours and you are mine. And I traced the song back to the song that I know it came from, and that song is actually Oceans. And I can hand off a link to you later on if you want to know more about the song, because it's a very, very sacred and beautiful experience of the Holy Presence and a divine surrendering into this Holy Presence. And it actually is that which sees us through dark hours. And actually it doesn't have to be a dark hour. It could be a beautiful hour, like this beautiful day, but it's always there with us, never leaving us or ever forsaking us. And it shines the light, reminding us we will never be overcome by what is in this world, ever, never. It's impossible, because who you are, where you come from and where you return to is of this nature, of this holy pattern, of this holy presence. So I'd like to join together in meditation if you would be so willing. And if meditation is new to you online, it's just a time of becoming still and kind of turning our energies inward. And I'm going to begin with Om, which is a 3-word chant. It's a vibration, and it actually comes from Sanskrit. It was from the 15th to the 1200 BC. It's very, very old. And it's actually sung as a praise to the divine, to that holy presence that has birthed us. Basically, I'm going to say it 3 times with the divine origin of being in contemplation in a state of physical, mental, and emotional communion with the presence that gives us life. So joining together as we turn from our awareness of hearing and our awareness of seeing down into stilling the mind and centering into the very heart of our own being. You call me out upon the waters, the great unknown where feet may fail. And yet I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep. My faith will stand. I will call your name and keep my eyes above the waves when oceans rise. My soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. For I am yours, and you are mine. In every hour and in every need, in every moment, in every breath, in every day and every night. It is always so. Thank you, God, and so we let it be. Amen. Amen. So as we come back into a more spacious awareness of the sight and the sounds around us in this beautiful, glorious Namaste village, we ask Johannes to come up and sing for us, if you would, and thank you again for the opportunity to share this moment with you. Thank you.
What a beautiful thank you. Yes, we are going to sing a song together now. That's the beauty of unity. We come from different backgrounds. We experience the divine in different ways. So we are so blessed, and I want to thank really my husband, who is helping so much to do this Unity Namaste Village. I want to thank Brother James Francis, who is so open. Can you imagine? We will have ministers, Unity ministers, from different experiences, sharing with us their own life, their own way of reaching the divine. So it's a blessing. And I want to thank Robbie also, who works so hard with this media thing that is sometimes so challenging. We are going to sing this song. What you just share is perfect. The two of you to join together, and then with a daily word, which is joy. So I'm going to invite you to sing this song with joy, really imagining that we are sending love and joy and light to the whole planet. I'm going to have a little bit of water. And we are going to repeat each verse twice. Okay? You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of Spirit on earth. And then we are. But you are first twice, then we are twice, and then I am twice. Okay? You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of Spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. Again. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of Spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. Now we are. We are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to again. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we'll do is a blessing to the world. Now I am together. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. Again, I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. Let's sing that verse louder with all our hearts. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. It's a blessing to the world. It's a blessing to the world. Amen. Thank you all. Have a beautiful, joyful, holy week. And we are going to do our prayerful protection now. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Let's do our prayerful protection. We take a deep breath, and together we say, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen, amen, and amen. We'll see you tomorrow.
Love you, Namaste.
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 Love you all.
Love you all. Blessings, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you too.
Love you all. Thank you.
There.
Thank you. Namaste.
James.
Thank you.
Manana.
Namaste. Mwah.
Love you.